Welcome to this special coffee with yours truly, Adrian, Dragan, on this rainy, cloudy, dark day in Montreal, Hawk Island, Montreal. First and foremost, gonna say a meditative gratitude, thankfulness on this rainy, dark day in Montreal, Hawk Island. Welcome to this live Facebook coffee with yours truly, Adrian, Dragan. It is 12:09 p.m. EST in Hawk Island, Montreal, and June 9th, 13 degrees, a little bit below average in Hawk Island, Montreal, and I am grateful, thankful, and appreciate that my rent is paid in full for June. My electricity bill is paid in full for June. Half of my phone bill is paid in full for June, and so that trinity of bills have fourth dimension, have noodles, sardines, a cup of coffee, and some romaine lettuce, and a little bit of a $1.89 cake to go with the coffee, which I am grateful, thankful with. Let's do a little bit of meditation after this grateful thankfulness. I'm going to do a meditation on the fact that I'm using clean, renewable, zero emission, zero pollution, free from pollution, zero emission energy by this beautiful high-tech gadget, which we call the smartphone and the laptop. Energy used is clean, renewable, and zero emission. Does not pollute, comes from the waters. 63 dams across the province of La Belle Province, Quebec, built by brains and muscle. Some brain and some muscle. Some brains and some muscle built across the province of Quebec. 63 dams. I'm grateful, thankful that I'm using this electricity, which does not pollute, is renewable, zero emission. I do a meditation on that, and how by brains and muscle, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions, who worked in the past decade since 1963, or even the inception of Hydro-Quebec before, to build 63 dams across the province in order for yours truly today, 2022, to do on this June 9th, 12:11 p.m. This video, philosophical, independent, psychological analysis, meditation, and theory, coupled with spirituality and geopolitics and whatever Draganisms will be there, here and there, east, west, north, south, in between. This is gonna be meditation, and I'm grateful, thankful that I'm using clean, renewable, zero emission, zero pollution, free energy. So with that meditation and that analysis, which is reality that I'm using in this Hawk Island, Montreal, on this 12 p.m. in Hawk Island, Montreal, and it's June 9th, 2022, in the 21st century. The electricity and the energy that I'm using to do this video and this meditation is with clean, renewable, zero emission, zero pollution energy from Mother Nature, and built by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even perhaps millions of workers of Hydro-Quebec in the past decades, since 1963 till today. My electricity bill is paid, and I'm grateful, thankful that I'm doing it with clean, renewable, zero emission energy, built by brains and muscles of tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands, even perhaps millions, who for more than 60 decades built 63 dams across La Belle Province, this province of Quebec, for us to use this energy, which is clean, renewable, in my phone that I've plugged early this morning to get the energy, in this laptop which I'm using. And of course, we also export to my brothers and sisters in the USA, I believe in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, and Massachusetts, the states, I believe 5 or 6 states, Hydro-Quebec exports electricity to. So that meditation, so the fact that I'm using this energy, just clean, renewable, and zero emission, and all energy across the province that people use in their homes, in their businesses, to maintain hospitals, to maintain whatever work is being done. And it's this work that I'm doing now, this independent psychological, spiritual, geopolitical meditation analysis and theorizing, and based on my theories and analysis and meditations, that I'm doing it with clean, renewable, zero emission energy. So I'm thankful for that. So that meditation, of course, gonna do a meditation on the coffee. And I'm grateful, thankful for having this coffee that was also with brains and muscle of human beings, of farmers. Thank you, farmers. Thank you, workers of Hydro-Quebec. Thank you, all those farmers and truckers and grocery store clerks and nurses and doctors and doing work, or independent athletes, independent activists, independent theorists like yours truly, Adrian, Dragan. So this cup of coffee, of course, the bean comes from somewhere in Latin America or Africa or Asia, could be Vietnam. And it was transported. It comes from a red berry. The black coffee bean comes from a red berry. It was harvested, but initially, as all fruits, vegetables, and legumes are made, created, and produced, initially this coffee, as all the other vegetables, corn, wheat, barley, potatoes, fruits and vegetables, bananas, apples, oranges, grapes, my favorite grapes, come from the dance of the goddess with her brother the sun. Now I'm saying the goddess because I say the word goddess in my spirituality, based on the divine feminine, and goddess can be reflected as Mother Nature. I'm non-sectarian in my spiritual teachings, and I'm not perfect, far from it, learning every day. And as I move forward to my own self-healing and transformation and healing, I believe we need individually and collectively, locally here in Hawk Island, Montreal, and the North American Civilizational Collective, or the collective of North American civilization and beyond, that we need to move forward. And these new values, new ways of being, which are new under the sun, have, and we build, maintain, and upgrade the civilization by food. And food security is an important topic, an issue of concern for me, as of course have resorted myself to food banks. I've donated and have got received, and food security is a major issue and a major part of my activism, because my brothers and sisters, with food we build, maintain, or upgrade civilization. And even yours truly, to have this energy to continue this meditation and analysis and speculations and theorizing, which will follow after and during drinking of this coffee, comes also from me being energized by this coffee. The main message is, after all, whatever 110,000 words, which I always say, the essence is, my brothers and sisters, mes frères et sœurs de la belle province, mon message principal était et sera, will be, was and is, make love tonight. Faites l'amour à soir. C'est mon message principal. My main message is, make love tonight. Otherwise, what are we fighting to save civilization for if somebody's not making love tonight? Even now, even this afternoon, 3 p.m. What are we fighting for? To save civilization for the rich multimillionaires and billionaires, the CEOs, buying, selling on the stock market frenzy now, a few hundred miles from here, even Montreal Stock Exchange down there, downtown, or Dawei, which is west in Toronto, TSX, or on the computer, buying, selling, who's making $1 million today, who lost 20%, who gained 37%, who made 22, I don't know. I know a little bit about the stock market. Is not a stock market speculation and meditation or analysis or theory, because I'm learning every day. And in a past life, I was myself a financier, banker, commercial, engaged in commerce in Frankfurt on Main, in many past lives, many incarnations. In this one right here, from Montreal, Hawk Island, Adrian, Dragan, androgynous, pansexual, founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. Grateful that I'm using this clean, renewable, zero emission energy to do this video, thanks to the workers of Hydro-Quebec, past, present, and future. Based, of course, one of my theories is citizen integration theory. Citizen integration theory. Citizen integration theory. It's one of my theories that I'm calling, of course, for the implementation ASAP, local, national, international, across Montreal, Hawk Island, Montreal, of course, and Canada, coast to coast, and across the North American Civilizational Collective, or the Collective of North American Civilization and beyond, NATO member countries, in order for us to integrate as citizens, to have the Dragan Army, official international citizen integrated social security and service force, a public-private partnership, of course, an infused integrated with all existing private and public institutions and organizations to encourage citizens to see how farming is done, to have weekend events during the week, events and events for people to go see how farming is done, transport is done, how the Hydro-Quebec dams operate and work. That would be one of, for the here local, to go invite people, go pamphlets door to door, or announce it on the radio, on the television, that with the Dragan Army, l'armée du Dragon, l'armée citoyenne, that we see how these dams are functioning and operating, how the farms are operating, to go across the province, to go coast to coast, to go across North America, to see the farming and all industries, all sectors of industries, the factors, with citizen integration theory, for example, to have events, to go with the buses, organize going to the recycling plants. How many of us citizens know where our recycling bin? We all know that we have a day a week, we put the recycling out, and it goes. Where does it go? How the recycling machine operates there, to see, to integrate citizen integration theory, citizen integration theory applied, implemented, to see how interconnected all our civilization are, so that we appreciate, we get more for granted, and for prosperity, security, and for the common collective defense of the North American realm, of course, the civilization of North America, the collective North American civilization. To see how compost is done, for example. I've sent messages during the past years to organizations dealing in ecological organizations and other organizations involved with different, and proposals, and no feedback, and lots of bureaucracy, lots of red tape, lots of bureaucracy, and sometimes you just gotta do yourself, and that's what I'm doing every day during COVID. Yours truly died, triple vaccinated, open for business. Encourage everybody, please, my brothers and sisters. Hygiene in public. Open carry my disinfectant when we go out. Right now, if I do want my rent being paid, I paid my rent for June in full. I paid my electricity bill in full for June. One half of my phone bill to that trinity of phone bills, fourth dimension, to that trinity. Got food to eat this afternoon. I'm drinking this cup of coffee. I'm grateful I can work, meditate, work out, train, exercise. And if I do will and want and choose, I can turn everything off now. Press the finish button, press the stop button, interrupt, turn everything off, get naked, and dance to Madonna music, Tekashi 6ix9ine music, or Kanye West music. Close my blinds, close my blinds. So I retain my right to the privacy. Although I share a lot of the public, my struggles, sufferings, pains, and independent psychological theories, independent geopolitical analysis, propositions, and my main theories, the trinity of theories, which is, of course, the citizen integration theory, democratic fusion theory, and debt refusion theory. And I am not perfect. Far from it. I do admit it's on a daily struggle with XYZs, and I do lust, I do have vices. I don't play the self-righteous, and although I've written tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, independent theory, and art, and poetry, and songs, and philosophy, tens of thousands of pages thereof, I'm mostly giving it by in an oral expression, in an oral communication and verbal expression. And yours truly, Adrian Dragan, unlike the leaders of the free world whom I do see regularly each night, Mr. Jens Stoltenberg, my brother, did you really have to read that from a piece of paper? Mr. Secretary General of NATO, nothing personal, brother, but I think that you could have, since you don't have to cook for yourself, I'm assuming everything's paid for you. Mr. General Secretary, I have to cook every day. Mr. XYZ, I cook every day. I do my own cleaning, my own cooking. Watch the news, disappointed. You have to read that from a piece of paper, Mr. Secretary General of NATO. I'm not perfect. Not perfect. Far from it. To world peace, to world peace, world peace, and peace, of course, in charity has to begin at home. If I make $1, I'll give half to my sister. Anonymous, anonymous, anonymous sister. Dreams, independent psychological theories which I've formulated along with my philosophies, analysis of civilizations, religions, of my own self as a part of the LGBTQ community, and my own struggles in XYZ areas with myself and with organizations and institutions and frustrations. Civilization and its discontent. Perhaps I'm a third Freudian, one third Freudian, one third Jungian, one third Crowleyan, and fourth dimension original independent psychosexual theories. Had a dream last night, a bizarre dream. Convoluted images and dialogue, undecipherable dialogue. And of course, many dreams reflect our subconscious. As of course, many years ago, studied a little bit of Jung, not Jung as in the age, but Jung as in Carl Jung, the psychoanalyst and independent psychological theorist, and one of my favorites. And do admit that, do not completely shun or say no to Freud, let's say. I'm a third Freudian, one third Freudian, one third Jungian, one third Crowleyan. And to that trinity, Jungian, Crowleyan, and Jungian, Freudian, Crowleyan, I'm my own fourth dimension, adding to that trinity of independent psychological, psychosexual theories. My key proponent, key part of my teachings is sublimation. And this is not new, sublimation and channeling. You have an urge, my brothers and sisters, to channel the aggressions, to channel the violence. We need to channel it, understand it, that our natures. We have an urge to love, be loved, for pleasure, for love, for acceptance. We have all these things inside of us, more or less different degrees at different points during the day or in time or during the week or XYZ and moments in a particular time, of course, with different love urges that manifest in different people at different levels of intensity, different desires, different hidden lusts, hidden fears which we have. So I had a dream last night. I don't know what time it was in the morning. I didn't wake up, but this dream I was at the library. I believe the dream occurred at the National Library, Bibliothèque Nationale. It's Quebec at the Barrier Camp, because it looked like it had 3 floors plus a bottom, the underground part. It looked like it had 3 floors, and I do remember taking the elevator at one point during the dream. And there were many books, and of course yours truly, Adrian Dragan, spent many years with one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, reading, writing tens of thousands of books in those libraries, and one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets in many years, and reading, educating self, reading about all topics, diverse topics of civilization, spirituality, finance. I remember reading Mr. Piketty, the Capital, the new one, not the Karl Marx one, and having a headache because it was very thick a few years ago, maybe about 6 years, 7 years ago. I tried to read it over a weekend. I remember having a headache. The next Monday, I had a big headache. I had to put a wrap towel on my head because I read it in parallel to Karl Marx's Das Kapital and got a headache for that. And I said, what in the world is so many words which are overly sophisticated, cosmopolitan? And at this point in time, perhaps way too many words. Sometimes we use expressions and words like in those books which we got to read over and over to fully understand and grasp their meaning, and perhaps even furthermore the understanding. Like right now I can philosophize, meditate, theorize, propose my theorems and theories, but to be honest, straightforward and direct, since my rent is paid, My electricity bill is paid. Half of my phone bill is paid, and got fourth dimension to that trinity of bills: food and coffee. Got coffee and food, food and coffee, and even a $1.89 cake, which I'm grateful, thankful for. What I could fucking use fucking now is a fucking massage. Right? So that's why my proposals and theories and call for the creation of the new institution, the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, the Dragan Army, to be of security and service, security and service, security and service, and based primarily on the model of my theories of the constitution of the collective of North American civilization as a not completely a breakaway or a cutoff from Western civilization, but as a spawn, as a evolution, as a growth, as a divergent emergence thereof. With my philosophy that the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. The body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. You need to take care of it. It's for pleasure and purpose. To give and receive, to give and receive. If you're part of the Dragon Army, that I can do. And all service, all kissing, all loving, all doing services of security and service, with consent and hygiene and mutual understanding and love, with consent and hygiene and mutual understanding and love, with consent is key, mutual understanding and love, and sanitation, 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 cleanliness and hygiene, 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 to be of all service and security. Somebody needs help with some cooking, of course, with applications, we already have the technology applications to be able to track and monitor so that there's no abuse, let's say, of service and security. My dream for this institution, not to abuse my dragons, not to abuse the dragons. Right? You get a, you don't call 3 times a day to get a massage, to be a semi volunteering institution, integrated with all existing public and private institutions, to be of security and service, to be both in that sense for the 21st century. Even a massage, let's say a trucker is coming here to Hawk Island, Montreal. He drove from Florida bringing oranges. Not paid enough. He can't afford a massage therapy. He drove 13 hours. He can use a half an hour, 45 minutes of somebody giving him a massage. The Dragon Army on the. Well, can I get a pit stop there in the somewhere XYZ on a parking lot or whatever, and the Dragon's unit go and give the brother or sister worker one of the services, massage or helping out with XYZ, whatever, massaging, cleaning, cooking, helping with the children, take the children out to run for a half an hour, to run for an hour. My brothers and sisters, if you let the dog out of the leash near children, my suggestion is you muzzle it. Put a muzzle. Put a muzzle. If it's not acquainted with the children, it's not children of the household. Because I've noticed marching, and you got pit bulls, and you got big dogs, whatever, boxers, whatever. Let them out of the leash. I'm allergic to some types of dogs. Some poodles, I love cuddle. Some dogs I'm allergic to. When they get too close, I don't feel good. I start coughing, sneezing. So I'm allergic to certain types of dogs. I haven't been close to all the types of dogs, but I know the ones that have more fur, boxers or stuff like that. Some pit bulls. I'm allergic. I have allergies to dogs. Poodles, those poodles that have that wool fur, I have like wool, like a lamb fur I love those, and I do well with those. They can get close, I can pet them. I'm more of a cat person. That's another story. But to certain dogs I'm allergic, and I've noticed people leaving the dogs out of where it's not the dog park where it's supposed to be the soccer field or the training field for the citizens, letting them out of the leash. My brothers and sisters, put a muzzle. Put a muzzle. You never know. The animal that plays with the child or goes to the child it plays, and not to put security over all matters of liberty. It's a delicate balance, just like our own analysis of our own inner dimensions, which, my brothers and sisters, sometimes we do not like to admit. I admit, in some things I'm mediocre, average, perhaps even fucking useless. I'm great, I got some brain and some muscle, got some brain and some muscle. Let's see. Not that much muscle. Not that much muscle. Some muscle, some brains. Independent as much as I can meditate and create independent philosophical theories and poetry. My poet, I'm the best poet. That's what I'm good at. And dancing joined together. I am the world's greatest living dancer, millennial rainbow dancer. Combined, I'm the world's greatest living. Some philosophy, some theory, some spirituality, and a universal spiritual teaching student who is not perfect. Far from it. Do lust. Yesterday I had a deadline to meet, so I had to run. I ran yesterday. Probably the most running I did yet in this spring. I was sweating, and at one point I saw beautiful people. I had some lust. I said, man, I would be good. I would love to just give a little hug. Of course, they're strangers. You got to interact first. You can't just go away. Mind, I find you beautiful. And you mind if I give you a hug? You could. We could have as liberty. Say no, no, and you move along. You fantasize in your head. You have lusts, whatever. I have lusts. Or to admit that we have prejudices, right? Whether racism. It's not hard to admit to somebody that's dealing with racism feelings or homophobia or homophobia, because sometimes there's subconscious biases which we have it to certain degrees, more or less at different levels. And sometimes we feel jealousy. That's why in the workplace, my theories and proposals to implement actions, my holy 11 Dragon Union propositions, my brothers and sisters, we have to try to avoid gossip. We have to try to avoid the gossip. We have to try as much as we can. I know it's juicy to avoid gossip. It doesn't empower us, doesn't make us feel better. I've lost economic, financial, commercial opportunity and continuance of employment due to being LGBTQ, being androgynous. I am a man and I'm a woman. After midnight, I'm more of a woman, a hell of a woman as well. I wear women dresses. I'm also a woman. I'm androgynous. I believe in reincarnations, incarnations, and in many lives I was a woman, I was a man. But in a certain circumstance, that doesn't take away from being able to be professional, to be incarnate and do the work in an excellent, good, or great manner, whatever it is, of which I'm good and excel at. In certain things, like I've said, I admit I'm fucking useless. One time I had trouble changing a light bulb, imagine. I ruined the whole thing. So not hard, these are not easy to admit to ourselves and to others. So then we gossip. Hard to address sometimes direct things, right? Because we feel jealous. And I've dealt with jealousy. We feel sometimes inferior, so then we go gossip. Things that we have as a society, right? Whether in the workplace, my brothers and sisters try to avoid the gossip. Address directly so I can do better. Give everybody deserves a warning, a warning, a warning. Everybody deserves a warning, and everybody deserves second, third chances. Second, third chances, everybody deserves them. Chance to so-called redemption. I myself have gotten second, third chances, perhaps even fourth, especially with my sister Anonymous. Because we have dimensions of selves which are sometimes not easily to comprehend, to put into the light. Back to my dream. This dream was mostly irrational. I know the location. The location was a library, 3-story library full of books. So this dream perhaps was memories from, let's say, my past years of struggle, of suffering, of loneliness, of coming out of depression, coming out of being suicidal, all those. And still with one foot in on the streets, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, reading tens of thousands of books, educating, writing, tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, analysis, geopolitical analysis, historical analysis, spiritual analysis, things related to myself as part of the LGBTQ community, things related to the LGBTQ community as local in Montreal, Hawk Island, Canada, the collective of North American civilization and beyond, things related to Quebec society specifically, to the development of the Quebecois society of which I am part of, which I love, speak French, write poetry, songs in French, and sing in French, do art and comedy and philosophy on my one of my French projects pertaining to that, and the evolution of Quebec, which I think should people understand more, especially the historical event, what's called in Quebec la la Révolution tranquille, la Révolution tranquille, la Révolution tranquille. That is a major part of a Quebec society where Quebecers become more secular, adopted new values, new philosophies of being, of relating to society and to arts, to culture, to the economy, even infrastructure, even all those things. That's a major point, which I think a lot of newcomers to our La Belle Province and it should understand more, should be more understood and more perhaps taught or spoken about on the radio, on the news, and even myself. I've done I think of videos in the past relating to that specific era of Quebecois society, which is very important to understand the whole processes of the political, cultural, and the evolution of the Quebec society. La Révolution tranquille. Doing a revolution every day, but I joke, I say, well, before I keep on going, continue with the revolution, I gotta clean my room before I go on with the revolution. Gotta clean my room. So before I keep on this afternoon continuing the revolution via love, love is action, I just gotta do a little bit of floor cleaning. Got a big cleaning coming up next week. So the dream, back to the dream analysis and theorizing. Have you ever had a dream where so seemingly totally irrational, totally disconnected joints put in the dream and you're hard to understand what did I just dream about? Of course, the dreams come from deep subconscious forces. Now, if you have a spiritual belief, mystic belief, or even religious belief, you might also say that it also a premonition or a little bit of a part prophecy, a little bit of things to come in the future or things which were in the past or something not related at all. My analysis of this dream was that it was part of my past struggles and sufferings where I have made the libraries of Hawk Island, aka Montreal, my second home, and where the tens of thousands of books became my friends, read tens of thousands of books, wrote tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, theory, analysis, and songs and poetry, some by hand and by binders, some by USB keys, of which some are lost, some do have. So this dream was me going and interacting with people in the library. So it had to do with something from the past. Before COVID, I spent a lot of years of self-education, suffering and struggling, precarious employment work as an independent artist struggling. And I've read tens of thousands of books and written many pages of theory, philosophy, and art. But this dream had not only a past component, but probably something for the now. Because I remember interacting in an awkward way with some individuals were more pleasant interactions. So there was a mix of pleasant and awkward interactions. Right? In my dream, my feeling is that there was a little bit of LGBTQ discrimination in the dream on the part of a certain individual at one point, but I cannot be certain of that. There's not 100% surety. I'm speculating because the dream was a lot of irrational things in the dream. Was a lot of irrational things. Like the elevators didn't seem to move at one point, and it seemed to be half elevator, half stairs. So it could have been that from the elevator I went to the stairs. So there was a lot of components which, of course, occurred in this dream. Yes. You would like your pillows? We'll just take a moment to give my friend pillows back. Sure. Will not be long. Gonna give the pillows back to my anonymous sister. Pillows, 3 pillows. Yeah? Yeah, 13. Well, that is live in action. I had to give my anonymous sister pillows back. And something else. So the dream was very irrational. Very irrational. And there's not only, it wasn't only irrational, it also had perhaps a reminiscence of my past in, let's say, the past 7 years or so, the past 7 years, more or less 7 years, where the libraries were my second home, and tens of thousands of books, my friends. Read tens of thousands of books, some only half read, some read in full, some read twice, such as the books. I remember a few years ago renting the books, Piketty's New Capital, in at the same time as I've rented Karl Marx's Das Kapital, and I've read a few pages from the new one from Piketty, Thomas Piketty, and Capital in the 21st Century. It's called Analyzing More Modern Economics, Financial and Commercial Systems. Coupled with your old one from the 19th century, from 1848. That was 48, 50, 55, 1865 maybe. See, not sure about. I think 1865 Das Kapital, or 1885 even. So more than 156 years now. The Karl Marx's Das Kapital analysis. I'm not a Marxist. I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. I'm a universal revolutionary centrist with my own theories of proposition for the times now, the 21st century, striving towards harmony, equity between the public and the private is one of my main theories. Gotta strive towards that. The insurance of liberty insured, liberty and freedom secured, and public-private partnerships. So I'm a universal revolutionary centrist. I do believe in social security, in a strong social security and safety net, especially food security, housing, and to a certain degree transport, based on my citizen integration theory, for people, for example, to be allocated XYZ amount of transportation to go volunteer. Right, I've analyzed, I love volunteering sometimes, as much as I did volunteering in different organizations. Sometimes due to economic, financial, commercial constraints, I wasn't able to go to volunteer because I didn't have the $3.50 to take the bus, to have the bus ticket and take the metro. Right? And rather, perhaps, not easy to admit, embarrassing fact that I've had to several times to organizations which I'm involved with, and I do love volunteering, and have volunteering, and will volunteer, and calling for volunteers for my own work as well. I'm in need and openly willingly loving to have volunteers of my own, and to do XYZ, whatever circumstances they're volunteering. I've done brains and muscle. I'm in the process of writing children's books. I think my originality in writing children's books, I have a few written down. I don't have connections or secretaries to be able to dictate for somebody to type. I would love to have volunteers and XYZ. At the moment, I don't have. I'm looking for connection, or sometimes there is nepotism in industries or XYZ. But I will just do carpe diem every day. That's my philosophy since I've died during COVID. Take it carpe diem. So I'm in the process of writing children's books, and I think my originality from self-education and experience reading to children's books, which I do love, reading children's books and writing children's books, our originality that in some books it incorporates body movement, so that when they get too antsy, they have a lot of energy, to have movement of the body incorporate. So for example, if I write a book, and I do write it about the bird flapping the wings to fly, to do the person who's reading to do that for 5 minutes, so that the children get their energy level and they just do the wings like the bird. How does the bird do? It flies, and it do flies, and it do 5 minutes of exercise. And how many times does the bird flap its wings? How many times does the bird flap its wings? And you ask the children, so it's also interactive at the same time as a story. How many times to stimulate, not overly stimulate their creativity, but at the same time not repress it or not limit it. That allows creativity of the children is input creativity. That's the input of the children's creativity in my original formulations, or not to be overly regimented, overly strict, overly just monotone, to have also the incorporations of movement of the body for the children, because they have a lot of energy, and to medicate them sometimes it's not the solution. If hyperactivity, sometimes it's necessary. Other times, supposedly, a lot of half, even more than half, do not need the medication. They just need to run an hour, do some push-ups, do some squats, do some hawks, and play a sport. And that's why my idea of the Dragan Army of Security and Service, to be of service, offer that service, to also do XYZ with the children. If the parents are driven crazy, they can't cook 7 p.m., they gotta cook dinner by 8. 1-800 number, application, Dragan Army, East, West, North, South. Can you please, Dragons, take my children out for a jog, kicking the ball a few times, the soccer, or do some push-ups, or dance, or whatever. Like, get the energy and the physical activity, brothers and sisters. Working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will be medicine and therapy for me. Can't stress it enough. More than 77 pounds down on my fitness journey. We need to mass finance it. If I would be a multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire, one of my philanthropic work, which would be encouraging people to work out, train, exercise. I'm calling on the patriarchal sports leagues, NBA, and National Basketball Association, NHL, National Hockey League, MLB, Major League Baseball, NHL, National Hockey League, for patriarchal, millions of dollars a year. CEOs are, some of them are billionaires. Mass finance the youth to work out, train, exercise. Work out, train, exercise. Work out, train, exercise. And encourage, support. You see the children doing a push-up, doing a pirouette. Encourage them to do another one. Encourage the children. Children are our future. Me, I've lived most of my life. I've experienced. If I die tonight, I may message. And the important is that I said the word goddess, G-O-D-D-S-S. Whether you believe in goddess or not, Mother Nature, the value of Mother Nature, not to be conquered, subjugated, because she dances with her brother the sun, but lived in harmony, in equilibrium with. Because we depend, right? Food security, see? Global food crisis on the horizon. Have, paradoxically, in a providential parallel manner, I go back to 2019, October. when yours truly, independent student, scholar of history, wars, geopolitics, and civilizations, back then I said brothers and sisters worldwide. Again, I saw the trend towards another international conflagration. I said we are again on the path towards World War III. So created, made, and designed, paradoxically, my program, workout training system program, called, officially titled, the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the Dragan Army Workout. Simple, effective, and efficient, requires no equipment. I've made it and designed it, created for such a scenario. Before COVID, October 17 was the first time that I've performed it. I'm done more than 250 now, going to 300. Because up to 300, you reach the apex maximum potential of development. After that, it will be maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. So I encourage children to work out. If you see them do a push-up, encourage them to do another one. See them do a squat, encourage them to do another one. See them do a pirouette. Yeah, children gotta be encouraged, gotta be taught. The body is a sacred, holy temple for pleasure and purpose. Purpose to educate, to grow, to learn, to see this world is here, just here in Hawk, HAWK, Hawk Island, Montreal. Big metropolis, 2.5 million people. Right? If we just congregate in one neighborhood, that's all we know, that neighborhood. If you go east, west, north, south, a whole weekend, we see, wow, around about how the big river surrounds Hawk Island, Montreal, northern metropolis. How many things we have right here, which we have never experienced. How many restaurants, museums, how many areas and corners around Hawk Island, which looks like a bird, Montreal, Hawk Island, like a bird from above with spread wings. How many things have just imbued this beautiful metropolis, which, and reached 1 million people in 1931. So in the 30s, Montreal already, in 1931, double fact check, but do believe Montreal, my home city, home island, my island is an island surrounded by one of the biggest rivers of North America, of course. Montreal, Hawk Island, is surrounded by a big, big river, right? It has a lot of rich history, rich, beautiful city. Has some flora, has civilization, big skyscrapers, urban expanse, more than 2.5 million people on the island, and with the metropolitan area, more than 4.5 million people. With the North Shore called Laval and the South Shore called Longueuil, it's more than 4.5 million people. It's like a small country in terms of population, right? Other cities are bigger, but Montreal reached 1 million in 1931. How many things are here to go on the island? We have parks, you have mountain in the center, south, in the heart of the island. You have the mountain system called Mount Royal, which is the headquarters of the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. 3 peaks: Mount Royal proper, West Mount, and Outremer. We have the forest there. So it has lots of trees, even around my neighborhood in NDG, Notre Dame de Grace, and where I lived before in Côte des Neiges. Less in Côte des Neiges. Côte des Neiges, I believe, is the most populated neighborhood. But there's a lot of trees here, big trees roundabout. So we have both flora and fauna. We have fauna and flora. We have flora and fauna, both. Striving towards the harmony of civilization and nature. So back to my original children's books writing stories, is that it incorporates movement, movement of the body. I'm not sure, but I think that was from the city that washes the, cleans the, with a big truck, cleans the street with the those mechanism, the big mop, or the big mop that rotates. I believe I heard it, but I believe so. Salutation to the sanitation workers of the city. See, with citizen integration theory, to see how all these things of the city work in different communities, with the schools, get a pamphlets, wants to go to see how recycling is done and give them a credit for it, XYZ, to see citizen integration theory, not just children, those in high school, but adults in universities, adults, millennials or not, intergenerationally. I did proposals and written to organizations. Can we go see recycling? And postponed and never got back to me in so many ways. So many disappointments, disillusions I've been with systems, organizations. I took agency on what can't take agency. The body. Worked out, trained, exercised, lost more than 77 pounds. Created my own workout system. Perfect for COVID times. Perfect for an emergency situation to increase general overall fitness. That increases general overall fitness. That increases general overall fitness. For that. So you see the children do a push-up, applaud, encourage, do another one. And my originality in the creation of books is the incorporations of the movement. I gave the example of the bird, but it can be something else, of course. It can be something else. A frog. If I write a children's story involving a frog, how does the frog leap? We can do squats. And for 5 minutes, how many leaps did the frog leap? A child might say 50, a child might say 20. Some children, beautiful, I remember beautiful minds of children say 100 million trillion. Of course, there's no such thing as a number. But what do they say is right? They say, wow, 100 million trillion. That's like the stars. So encourage their creativity. Encourage the creativity. And at the same time, reading the story and educating the words, new words, and to understand the meaning. The frog leaps. So incorporating movement is my, not in all the stories, but in a lot of the stories, the incorporation of movement and the interaction with questions or stimulation of creativity is my original children's book stories, ideas and creativity and originality that in my children's books writing process, of which I'm in the process now, writing as well in parallel with my general work. I'm in the process of writing children's books, bilingual, French and English. En français, bien en anglais, in English and in French, of course, in English and in French. And when I do volunteering, I do read in both languages, French and English. So my brothers and sisters, back to the dream. I've diverged a little bit back to the dream, my irrational dream. It was mostly irrational, not all. There was some, say, logic or realness or based on experiences of the past, which yours truly has experienced in the past. Such as this particular moment was my relation to the libraries of the city called Montreal, which I call Hawk Island due to having a once upon a time, don't know where exactly in the moment in time, had ascended Mount Royal, and there was a stormy day right after volunteering to do children's readings, which I do love, and I'm writing children's books, which I do need help, support, volunteering with. And perhaps I'm not that best. I'm mediocre, perhaps average at writing a grants. I'm perhaps not good at writing grants, or I'm mediocre at the bureaucracy side of things, the paperwork, and still perhaps have a with it, perhaps an unpleasant relations with the bureaucracy and the standard bureaucracy in writing grants and more the formalities. I'm perhaps more into I'm great at the creativity, originality, creative endeavors, and creative aspect and originality, and then the bureaucratic, formal, A to Z structure of writing a grant or writing a letter of intent, writing a letter of request to establish a relation with a book publisher. Here I am live on Facebook, nonetheless, working, doing. So back to the dream. I was in the library, and there were people which I've interacted with. Sometimes kind of seemed awkward in the dream, like I'm not sure, but there was a little bit of homophobia, anti-LGBTQ discrimination, but this can be my own interpretation. I don't rule out another possibility that it was perhaps me in the dream wanting to establish a rainbow relationship, and that whoever that person was in the dream, and was a negative answer. Hell no. Fuck no, I'm not LGBTQ. I'm a straight man. Perhaps something like that. Perhaps in worst case scenarios, you're gonna burn in hell for being. Don't say that to my fellow LGBTQ, and don't say that to me, please. I guess. Fuck. So in the dream was 3 stories of books. There was books all around. I'm assuming, I'm betting, I don't gamble. My take is that it was either memories from the dream of many years where this library, coupled with other libraries of Hakka and Montreal, became my second home. And the many tens of thousands of books, my friends, and a memory mixed with present life decisions. And I remember going around and looking at books, interacting with people, sometimes friendlier, sometimes more cold. And there was a mixture of my subconscious desires, a mixture of memories, and at one point there was something that relates to my present day and during COVID, my fitness journey. Because I remember in the dream there was a tall woman, and we discussed fitness journey, and she was also on a fitness journey. And I remember this one being very fit, very even fit, because I remember discussing the fitness journey in the library, and at one point I think people were looking at us, so we had to start whispering, because in the library you're not supposed to blah 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 blah, supposed to whisper. And I remember this person showing me, kind of flexing. When you flex, I don't remember myself flexing. So flexing for a fitness journey, but you flex. So I'm branding some muscle, Adrian on a Dragan, and I remember this woman showing me the abs, and they had really abs, top. The abdominals were really fit. You could see the muscles all the way to the side, right? The muscles. I don't have it still. Working on my abs. They're there, but they're still underneath some layers of fat. Maybe by next week, a little bit more. Working out maybe later today, going on a march. But I remember discussing the fitness journey. So how do we interpret this dream? Well, it has to be with my recent accomplishment, which is losing lots of weight, going from coming out of depression, being suicidal, struggling, creating my own workout training program, of which I'm very proud of Discretion, my workout, the general war integrated total body training system, which paradoxically was created to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario back in October 2019, when, as a world peace advocate, paradoxically, student, scholar of history, wars, geopolitics, and civilizations, had made and created and designed a general war integrated total body training system, aka the Dragan Army workout, aka the 300 workout. Because it's 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. Trinity, push-ups, hawks, squats, 100 for each required. You got 93 minutes to do it, to complete it. 13 reps maximum per set, minimum 3 anywhere in between, so it's not regimented. You can play within those rules and do it different every time. I'm doing 10 reps per set, so 10 times 10 gets you to 100. What's required? 100 squats, 100 hawks, 100 push-ups to get to 300. Maximum 13 reps per set, minimum 3, anywhere in between. 7, 6, 5, 4, 9, 12. 13 maximum reps per set, 3 minimum, and there's no pause, no stop. Once you start the 93-minute countdown, you gotta march, jog, run, walk fast pace, a minimum of 31 seconds in between each set. Where the push-ups, hawk, squats, gotta march, run, jog, run fast pace, or just marching pace, preferred marching pace. So those are the rules. 4 main rules to my workout. which I've made, created, and designed back in October 2019 to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario. After yours independent geopolitical analyst and student scholar of wars, history, geopolitics, and civilization, after, back in October 2019, I've sounded the alarm back then. Said, humanity, brothers and sisters of the world, humanity, we are again on a path towards another international conflagration. And so created, made, and designed that scenario. And the workout to be a workout, standard workout, and it is the test, the examination, standard examination of those willingly living to join me as part of the Dragan Army, which I'm calling all willingly living to support the creation, local, national, international, public-private partnership, on the public-private partnership, on the public-private partnership. I'm also calling, of course, on the patriarchal sports leagues, my brothers in athletes. Prices increase, food prices increase, gas, we can do more. And I sell with all the vices and all the lusts and all the imperfections and the flaws, and get moody, get upset. I have aggression, do channel it. Channel the aggression, channel the voice, the keyword, sublimate and channel into this video that I'm doing. Perhaps I could have spent just being moody about the dream, right? But I chose action, and action is required in parallel with theory. Action is required in parallel with theory. Such as come out of depression and being suicidal, action was required. Start to tough and work out, train, exercise. Has been, is, and will be medicine and therapy for yours truly. And yes, I admit right now, as my rent's paid for June, my rent is paid, my electricity bill is paid for June, in full, paid for June. Electricity bill, rent's paid in full for June. And my half of my phone bill, Trinity of bills paid, fourth dimension, half food and coffee. What I could use in an extra is a good fucking massage. Tom Brady. Now I'm $8 million gonna rate Tom Brady's hand game on the Dragon neck. I'm gonna do an artistic, athletic activism for the Dragon Army. I'll support or any other multi-millionaire athlete. See, half an hour of back and neck rub, I stay on the chair, and then multi-millionaire athlete comes and gives me a good massage, whether in hockey, NHL, in football, NFL, Brady, or some other sports star, the name of the multi-millionaire who makes 25 million a year or more. Somebody. Right? Garoppolo, my 49ers. What they do to my brother Kal Nassib, man? What happened to Kal Nassib, my brother? Not the only one, but the only one open. Kal Nassib, player who's LGBTQ in the 4 patriarchal sports leagues. Of course, there's more. Now they're gonna play tonight. Playoffs. National Hockey League. There's 1 out of 10. 5 versus 5, right? 5 versus 5. Right? Plus the goalie. So 6. 5 versus 5 for the goalie. 1 out of those 12 is LGBTQ at any given time. And in basketball, 5 versus 5. 1 out of those 10 is LGBTQ. Not open. I've burned myself lost economic, financial, commercial opportunity, continuance of work due to perhaps gossip, being LGBTQ, and people gossip, don't like it, right? They're trying to, I know I've experienced the jealousies, the lower aspect of self, which were not easy to admit. Not easy to admit that we're mediocre, that we feel inferior in certain things, right? So I bring this, taking into consideration the effects of social media has, especially on the youth, even millennials like myself. I've chosen to do my videos and my dance videos, my work without filters. Yeah, I wash my face this morning, but have no makeup on. Be a raw, more real. Because yes, I do like to beautify and color things. I like color and put cream and beautify, take care of my body. The body's a temple for pleasure and purpose. But also to also show the more real side, right? The more raw, which we interact on a daily basis when we step outside. And please, brothers and sisters, when we step outside, we're no longer just private citizens. Right now, I'm just private, could shut everything off. But when I step outside, I'm also a public citizen, Dragon. I'm also a public citizen, Dragon. No longer just private citizen. I could shut everything off, go to bed. if I want now, right? My rent's paid. Businesses for now slow. No commission. Still waiting for my first dollar donation via PayPal. Commission for dancing, working out, training, exercises. You bet this independent fitness captain gonna give me an hour to drill. You will do it. Push-ups, squats, hawks, marching steps, push-ups, hawks, squats with you. Or for XYZ, independent artist, independent athlete, independent activist. Put more work during COVID than all the leaders of the free world combined, man. Put more work during COVID than all the leaders of the free world combined. Put more work, independent, athletic, philosophical, artistic, than all the leaders of the free world combined. Perhaps not. Half. Let's say half. A third. But I'm not perfect. I get moody, get upset, get lustful. Sometimes it's hard to admit that we have these lower feelings, lower self, and I do have it. I try to stay in the balance in the medium, which are my independent psychosexual and spiritual theories that have to strive to stay in the middle, as much as we can, perhaps with one foot on the higher self, one foot on the higher self, one foot on the higher self. But for me to make a claim that I'm in the higher self floating on clouds, which I do like hawks and birds in the sky, beautiful blue sky, but sometimes I have cravings. I'm craving a good massage right now. Oh, that would be a plus extra double good. Which multi-millionaire in patriarchal sports leagues makes 20 million a year? He could take a flight to do some charity for Dragan. Try to do my workout. I'm challenging the players in the NBA, National Basketball League, NHL, National Hockey League, MLB, Major League Baseball, and NBA, NFL, National Football League. One of those four. Don't tell me Colin Nasib is the only LGBTQ player. There's many, many, many even tonight who are gonna play who are. But for economic, financial, commercial reasons, they stay in the closet. And I understand more than many. The economic, financial, commercial pressures, my brothers and sisters, to for us to hide parts of ourselves or to repress or to put aside, and I can put aside part of myself. I don't have to put the rainbow flag, the LGBTQ flag. I can just put my red favorite color and green for the goddess, goddess, goddess. I do say goddess. Right? We have parts of ourselves that we're loath to admit publicly. We're ashamed, embarrassed. Sometimes in religious matters. Sin, 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 sin. What's a sin? Not sin. If it's consent and hygiene, that's the only thing for my LGBTQ brothers and sisters that I encourage. Of course, consent and mutual understanding and love, and hygiene, hygiene, hygiene. I get dirty, but I get back clean. If I step outside, I'm no longer a private citizen. I'm also a public citizen. Go as much as I can by the laws or the public. As a Quebecois, as a Canadian, as a citizen, part of the collective of North American civilization or the North American civilizational collective, and as a world LGBTQ citizen for that matter. Act local, think global. Not slogans, and I'm not too big on that. I'm more big on thinking, meditating, philosophy coupled with action, coupled with doing, coupled with doing, coupled with doing. Because I can, and one can spend many years and perhaps decades just blah blah blah, and it stays at that. And it does require action. It does require action. It does require action for ourselves. My action to go on a fitness journey, to lose weight, invest in the body. There ain't no money to invest in the body in the stock market. Invest in the body. I've put hundreds of videos of workouts, raw, real, Facebook, on YouTube, right? See the process, the raw process of it. To work out in my underground room off some temple. And I have been for years, and I am and will still call today for the mass financing. Restore a binational Canada, US, and Mexico combined, the North American civilizational collective, but modeled, of course, the Dragan Army as a public-private partnership for security and service, for security and service, for security and service. First, from a North American perspective, yes, with calling for world peace, but I'm a North American. Grew up in the collective of North American civilization. I my own struggles and sufferings, and many we have crises, millennials, youth, mental health crises, and things we're embarrassed, ashamed of. Channel my brothers, the aggression, the violence, my brothers and sisters. Sublimate myself. Don't mind if you're a friend, you're a fellow dragon, ally, citizen, supporter of the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom, a supporter, ally of the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom, a supporter, ally of the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom. My private life, don't mind with consent and hygiene. A little bit of BDSM, for example, BDSM switch. Let's say you're a friend. Dragon, you mind if I just take 5 minutes to just take a leash and just tap you? If you say stop, I'll stop. I might say yes. Okay, sure. Can I swear at you for 5 minutes? 5 minutes? Maybe 5 minutes is too much. I'll give you 2 minutes. Go ahead, swear. It's a channel into art, action with mutual understanding and love. To repress feelings and emotions, not better us. Understand them and taking action. I feel moody. You feel triggered. I get all those, get triggered, get moody. We live in a highly technical society. Science. In a parallel life, science, innovation, and technology is my parallel path. Where supercomputers, ICBM rockets, micro gadgets, and satellites is my parallel universe. In that parallel life. Parallel self sent me 56,718 words a few weeks ago. Got a headache for the weekend. I said, I can't read that. Can't you just give me 3 pages of news? No, you gotta read that. If you're trying to connect with your parallel self, you gotta read these 56,000 pages. I said, well, 56,000 pages, that's 13.3 books. I got no answer back. So back to the dream analysis. So this dream was part of my experiences, let's say over the past 7 years of being in the libraries, Hawk Island, Montreal, being one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, reading, writing, analyzing, self-education, self-education, self-education. In the People's Doctorate, People's Doctor, independent geopolitical theorist and analyst, philosopher. And the dream was also part of my current, or my more recent, pre-COVID, reading, writing, analysis, writing theory, tens of thousands of pages of theory, philosophy, deep, cosmopolitan, sophisticating analysis about the individual, the collective, North American civilization of which my theory was born during those years, and analysis and theory that North America, we constitute a collective civilization. The word collective has to be included in the word civilization in my theory because it's an amalgamation and a new type of civilization which has emerged due to an integration and a fusion and at the same time transcendence, an emergence of a new civilization, not completely broken off or break away from Western civilization, part of, but at the same time distinct with unique features and characteristics based on the evolution over since the Second World War. The civilization of North American collective, the collective North American civilization, which was a theory which I've written for, say, maybe 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, maybe started about 7 years ago or so. The development, a few hundred pages written somewhere USB key and given in oral form, oral teachings, have been and will and continue to do as I'm doing now. So this dream had an irrational component, irrational, perhaps urges, perhaps fears, which we have irrational fears, irrational urges or desires, irrational fears or desires of the subconscious, coupled with experiences of me being in making the libraries of Hawk Island, Montreal, my second home in the past years. Reading tens of thousands of pages of poetry, philosophy, books, whatever, however. and in parallel with my fitness journey, because I do remember this interaction with that person. I'm not sure that there was any sexual desires, or it might have been, but I'm not sure, or lustful desires or psychosexual desires, but there was the interaction of the fitness journey. So both me and this person were on the fitness journey, so we interacted in the library. So again, it comes to the idea of my development, brain and muscle, brains and muscle. Some brains. I'm gonna flex again. Let's see. Some brain and some muscle. So that's part of it. And part of it is the brain, which I'm learning every day. But I'm living proof of acquired savant syndrome, neuroplasticity by action, neuroplasticity by action, neuroplasticity by action, coupled in hand with acquired savant syndrome. But in some things I am mediocre, perhaps even useless. Not that good, not that great. I admit it. Certain areas I'm mediocre, average, not that good. Certain things I'm beyond good, I'm better than, I'm great, I'm even excellent. I'm the world's greatest living dancing millennial, a rainbow poet, first and foremost. Coupled my poetry with my dancing, I'm the world's greatest living millennial rainbow dancing poet. Right? With some brain and some muscle and some philosophy and some art and some activism and some dreams. So this dream reflected experience, reading, writing, self-education, making the libraries of the city of Montreal, Hawk Island, my second home. And since it had 3 stories, I do believe it was the library in downtown Berry-UQAM, the library which is at the Berry-UQAM metro station. The Berry-UQAM metro station. Bibliothèque Nationale, because it had 3 stories. But there was also a very irrational part of the dream at one point. I don't fully understand the symbol. There might be a symbolic aspect to it. There might be perhaps something now or in the future. That at one point did take the elevator, but from the elevator there seemed to have an opening, and from the elevator, kind of midway, stepped out. This was a very unusual, very irrational part of the dream. From the elevator, stepped one foot and kind of started, kind of like a jump, but it was close. It wasn't kind of like a jump, but like a big leap, a big leap, kind of like a big leap, great leap forward, let's say. And I've jumped on the stairs. And I'm not analyzing that, and I'm saying, hey, this analysis was maybe when I began my fitness journey a few years back, right? Hundreds of videos of working out, training, exercising. Whenever I began my fitness journey, so from not taking the elevator to going on the stairs, because I started taking the elevator, and then kind of midway I said, hey, I'm gonna stop the elevator, and I've kind of took a leap to go on the stairs, and I walked on the stairs. So maybe that was a point in time, maybe in the past years, when there was the transition from the beginning my fitness journey. I'm analyzing my dream here. I don't know exactly. I'm analyzing it, right? From a semi psychosexual perspective, psychological, sexual, psychosexual perspective, from a spiritual perspective, mystic perspective, and from the subconscious, irrational, analytical. I'm just gonna get a little bit of more coffee. Get seconds. We'll be back in 37 seconds. We're back. So that was a major part of the dream. Major parts of the dream. The dream was, I don't know how long. See how long Maybe the dream was just condensed, comprised in a few seconds, minutes. Right? Maybe the dream was long. Maybe I dreamt from 3 a.m. till 7 a.m. in the morning. Maybe from 3 a.m. in the morning to 3:33 in the morning. Maybe from 3 a.m. to 3:58 or 4:18, whatever. 7 minutes, 77 minutes, 93 minutes, 156 minutes, 3 minutes. Hard to tell, right? The time passing in the dreams. That's another aspect of interpretation. And how long was the dream? I don't know. I remember this sequence of events, but I do know and feel, and also after parallel feel, as I say in my analysis and my philosophical, spiritual, philosophical, and practical propositions and general philosophies, that 2 plus 2 equals 4, yes. But that doesn't mean that we have to write the equation in only one color, only white or only black, or black and white. We can write it 2 plus 2 equals 4, and this is general sort of a motto that incorporates the philosophy of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, that we can write the 2 in green, color of the dancing goddess army, officially is green for the goddess, forgotten but still dances with her bird in the sun. Now the sun rises and now the sun sets somewhere in the world. And the plus, 1 line black and 1 line white. And then the other 2, if we wrote the first 2 in green, we can write the other 2 in red. My favorite color, and the color of the dragon army. Right? Write it in red. And then the equal sign, we can write the top line in black, the top line in white. And the 4, we can write 1 line in orange, 1 line in pink, 1 line in purple. So we can have all the colors of the rainbow, the flag, plus the black and the white, because this shirt, which I'm auctioning. See? Black and white. Right? But second-hand auctioning. Raise money for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. PayPal of North America only. On NATO and G7 countries for XYZ motives, reasons, and Israel at the moment in time. Business. So we can write it in the equations, black and white and rainbow. That equation, and it's still 2 plus 2 equals 4. But my special unique philosophy is that we can write it in all the colors. We don't have to write it in just one color. All in red, all in green. We can write all the colors of the rainbow plus the black and the white. So back to the dream analysis. My analysis on the dream, and I can interpret, analyze dreams from a psychosexual perspective. Experience, lived, subconscious, even spiritual, mystic perspective, because some people believe, and I do believe, that sometimes in the dream there is a sort of a spiritual message, a mystic message. Some say religious. Adopt non-sectarianism in my political, spiritual. The dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is non-sectarian. If you want to say goddess or not, or Mother Nature or planet Earth, that's fine. Not have to say. But the fact remains that by the sun and the Mother Earth and the black fertile earth, the black fertile earth with the water from the rain, the sun rays, golden sun rays, do make the fruits, vegetables, and legumes that our brothers and sisters, farmers, harvest for us to make, maintain, or upgrade civilization. Parliament of Canada, parliamentarians, House of Commons. My brothers and sisters, this North American Canadian was an American twice in past lives 156 years ago. 718 miles south of Hawk Island, Southeast that way, served in the U.S. Army. Asking Congress, U.S. Congress, and Canadian Parliament with the Dragon Army to go give those farmers a massage. Give them a good hug, a good kiss, wash those feet of the farmers and truckers, man. I believe at this point in time for North America, Dragon spanking Parliament, the left, those on the left with the left hand, and those on the right hand in the universal, my universal revolutionary centrism in the center. Spank Congress and Parliament for North American security, prosperity, and insurance of liberty, and as a medicine and therapy for both Canadians and Americans, as North Americans would be a good a good thing to be live televised, live stream, Facebook, Instagram, CNN, and all the news channels across the North American civilization, collective of civilization, the collective of North American civilization, for let's say on a weekend, gather somewhere in Hawk Island, Montreal, or in Ottawa, or make it also in Ottawa and in Washington. The U.S. Congress in Ottawa and the Canadian Parliament in Washington, and so vice versa. So this dream, my analysis of it is that it's to my past experience of the past, let's say 7 years or more or less, with one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, reading tens of thousands of books, reading, writing tens of thousands of books, reading books, not writing books, but writing philosophy, theory, and some book ideas, and philosophy analysis, theoretical philosophical analysis, and propositions, and where now I'm giving in a compendium oral, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdoms, two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, which I'm calling the creation thereof, by a public-private partnership, officially International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army, with the National Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army, the Phoenix People's Party, the anti-war, anti-poverty, anti-racism, universal revolutionary centrism party that is pro-love and love is action. So my dream had subconscious elements, real experiences, reading books, because I remember 3 stories and tens of thousands of books. Perhaps my subconscious calculated all those books which I've read during the past, let's say, few years, more than 7 years, more than 7.7 years, more than 9 years, let's say 9 years, 10 years, whatever. That was a lot of books. I'm still reading every day, still. As much as I'm the people's doctor, I'm still learning every day, still don't know, have questions. I wouldn't like to know everything, and it's not possible. So, and many things are better left to mystery, besides knowing. Perhaps we get depressed, suicidal again to know a lot of things. We'll see how things are not that well received when we know too much, and I don't know. I know a little bit, learning every day, don't know it all. But it's possible the speculation that my subconscious calculated the books and in many ways reflected on those 3 stories of my dream which happened earlier this morning. The books which I've read during these past years. Books on philosophy, books on society, sociology, history, civilization, spirituality, art, even books on art. Books like I've mentioned, for example, I remember a few years ago, The Capital in the 21st Century by Piketty, Thomas Piketty, and the Das Capital by Marx. Over the weekend I was reading a few years ago to see the correlation and if what's the difference. Of course, Capital of the 21st century is made for more modern, and Das Capital for the industrial revolution, industrial era of the 19th century. And I got a headache, I remember, on weekend, Monday, after reading the weekend, I got a headache. I said, why so many words, complex theories, and complex analysis and philosophy and XYZ? Trying to struggle to understand sometimes the page. Wow, how many words. I have to look up the words in the dictionary. They're convoluted, complex, overly sophisticated, and perhaps unnecessary. So this dream perhaps reflected, and it did, my analysis, that it did reflect my experience in the past and present, the fitness journey. That interaction with that person was tall, lean, and remember we discussed a little bit of fitness journey, and remember the person showing me the abs. So I said, wow, I remember abs, like, wow. I remember asking a few questions. I remember a little bit of exercising, stretching a bit with that person, just left and right, and showing me the abs. I said, wow, the abs were top notch. Perhaps I desired to give kisses got subconsciously, or just touch. You say, wow, like I like the physical contact. I'm also, as much as a philosophical, art, spiritual, body's a temple for pleasure and purpose and pleasure. Sometimes for purpose more, for pleasure second. Sometimes for pleasure first. During the Sabbath, it starts Friday, tomorrow midnight, Sunday. Pleasure, purpose, pleasure, right? body. So I like to touch, I like to give pleasure, receive pleasure, massage or wash, whatever. Somebody washes me, somebody washes you, feels good, right? It's feels good, more or less. If we desire, if we will, with consent and hygiene, with consent and hygiene, with consent and hygiene. And the body is something that's precious. The temple, the pleasure is a holy, sacred thing. It's hygiene and consent, 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 and hygiene. So maybe there was a secret desire there for me to touch this beautiful, athletic, had the abs like wow, 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 subconscious, while at the same time discussing my fitness journey, me losing weight, that person being on her fitness journey, and then other interactions with other people, more cold mannered. And I remember a little bit of a dialogue about, there was a polemical about, in the dream there was some polemic. We didn't get along too much. There was tension. There was even conflict a little bit. There was a polemic. This person was more cold, more intellectual, seemingly in the dream, and we had a little bit of a discord on perhaps philosophy. Don't know exactly what, but there wasn't. It wasn't antagonistic 100%, but it wasn't. It was more polemic, polemic engagement with a person. It was more a polemic nature of a um, disagreement or even debate on a certain intellectual philosophical aspect. So that also in parallel to the fitness, brains and muscle, the brains and the muscle part, the brains and the muscle part, which have developed and am developing today and will develop later today when I go on a march or work out or train or continue writing my children's books, which I'm hoping to write and get help and support, which I'm published soon along with all my work. I'm open for business. Want to commission me to interpret your dream, write it one page and I'll give you maybe interpretations, but maybe I'll ask a few questions about your personality or your past experience during COVID, or even before or after. Right? Paradoxically, yours truly lost a lot of memory. Don't remember much of my youth. Don't remember much of my adolescence, early adulthood. I remember paradoxically more about past lives, many past lives shown in dreams and other spiritual, semi-spiritual, semi-mystical experience and so on and so forth. But this dream also had a psychological dimension, even sexual dimension. Perhaps my desire to to work out and engage on this fitness journey was subconscious. Let's face it. Perhaps it's a subconscious to be loved more, to have more love, or to be more desirable, right? More open, have more open. And I don't discriminate based on bodies because I was myself overweight. I was very overweight. I was 70 pounds, at least 80 pounds. I lost more than 77 now. I'm still not satisfied 100%. Now, perhaps subconscious, I also want to have, like in that dream, those abs, right? Those abs, but I have to work for it. I have to put action because I have to limit, like my friend said yesterday, I drank a little bit too much soda. Maybe a little bit too much soda that I drank. Analyzing, did I drink too much soda? I think I did. To be honest, I think I drank a cup too much. A cup like this too much, right? A cup like that. Maybe that was too much. Too much soda. Maybe I had a little bit of those tiny cookies, wafers. Also too much. We watched two videos, so two movies. So I had a chocolate bar, $1 chocolate bar. Which I'm grateful that the price remains still the same, and I am grateful to have another chocolate bar for tonight after my workout. Will reward myself. $1 chocolate bar. Grateful, thankful the price didn't go up for these chocolate bars. Price might go up tomorrow or already maybe did now. As many prices increasing now. I don't know. I still have one white chocolate and one black chocolate. Hazelnut chocolate, just black dark chocolate, and one white one. I'm staring now. I'm tempted. No, I'm drinking this coffee. I'm gonna have lunch. Something light. Something light. So maybe the subconscious will also, as a combination, my own fitness journey, my own desire to get fitter, to have abs, because I don't have abs. I have a belly, still a belly. I have some biceps, I have some brains, but I am fit for marching, for working out hard, training, exercising. But the aesthetics not that much, because the my not yet, at least. Give me a few more days, a few more weeks. But the my workout, which I've created back in October 2019, was created, designed, and made to require no equipment, to be able to be performed anywhere, most circumstances, economic, financial, commercial circumstances, and of course, to increase general overall fitness, not necessarily for aesthetics, because it incorporates push-ups. Push-ups develop lean, natural, raw strength. Squats develop lower body, raw, real, natural strength. And peach, peach, peach. I do have a peach. Do have a booty, booty, booty. Dragon booty, big, dragon red booty. But also this interaction with this other person. So let's take this into consideration. My interaction in the dream, with these two people. I remember there was a third one, but the third one was kind of friendly, cordial, and short. Maybe this was actually a person whom I met at the library in the past years. Maybe, maybe not. Cordial, friendly, and short. The interaction with that athletic, beautiful, tall woman was maybe also my self-full desire to be fitter, to also have those abs. Maybe it was a real person, inspired by a real person, of which I follow on Instagram. Follow some independent Instagram fitness giants. Some have millions of followers, right? Yeah, I'll still put your filters on. My sister showed me that I'll put your filters on, so now I gotta discern so how people put their filters on. Put no filters. I make a lot of my videos raw, real. Did wash my face, no makeup. So one part of the dream was interaction with the person who was athletic and discussing my fitness, person's fitness, and my fitness journey. And my interpretation of me going from the, because this was very subconscious elements and irrational. I was in the elevator. I took the elevator from like below, and a kind of a midpoint from the elevator, I made a leap, a jump. The elevator was kind of open, so very irrational. That's not real. You can't jump from the elevator until it gets to the second or third floor, wherever you're going. So I believe I was at the first floor, going to the third. I know, because I was looking up and I saw second and third floor, so that I know. I took the elevator, and at kind of midpoint, I jumped from the elevator and I started taking the stairs. So in my subconscious, also this was perhaps the where have began my fitness journey a few years back. And going on the stairs was me going on the process of my fitness journey, of which I am engaged now, losing more than 77 pounds, getting fit, and continuing and creating my own program. So going on the stairs, getting fitter in the fitness journey, and healing, coming out of depression, starting being suicidal. If you have suicidal tendencies, speak about it, seek help, and action is required. Action is required. Not easy to openly talk about it, discuss it when you feel low, low, low. And the meaning of life, or economic, financial, commercial pressures. Like I said, I've lost or negated or closed doors the opportunity to continue economic, financial, commercial opportunities, or continuance of economic, financial, commercial blessings. So going on the fitness journey, getting fitter, healing, and at the top, meeting, interacting with a person who is fit, very fit, very fit, very fit. Top 1% of fitness, I would say, in the dream at least, because very lean, very athletic, very beautiful. As if I said, I don't discriminate of all body types, of all willingly loving to join the dancing goddess and the dragon king. Myself, this fitness journey for the body is a pleasure, for purpose and pleasure, the body temple for pleasure and purpose, and has been, is, and will be medicine and therapy for me. Working out, training, exercising, and have been, am, and will encourage the mass financing thereof. my public-private partnership in the Dragon Army, my dream. Able to channel the aggression, channel the violence, channel the impulses, channel into activities, constructive activities, by understanding mutual consent of our natures, which have those desires, sometimes subconscious, sometimes admitted, which we put into working out, training, exercising, into art, even into rapping. You know, I'm gonna start rapping a deliciously disgusting diatribe. Created the best rap chorus for June the other day, or marching. It goes a little bit like this. Oh, I have it somewhere. Oh, it's on the phone, so can't access it right now. So the dream was multidimensional, psychological, real, based on my experience in the past years of going to the libraries, making the libraries of Hawk Island, Montreal my second home, and the many tens of thousands of books, my friends, reading, self-educating on all areas of civilization, and I'm still learning every day. Writing theory, citizen integration theory, death refusion theory, and democratic fusion theory, my trinity of theories, which I'm calling the implementation as part of the work of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. In my work, Adrian, Dragan, they're a trinity of theories. Believe at this point in time, their implementation is in parallel with others and with public and private partners, from corporations and institutions and governments and organizations. We firmly believe, with all the flaws that do have, and the vices and the lust and the moodiness, do believe that at this point in time, 21st century, for the 21st century, universal revolutionary centrism are best at this point in time, in parallel with others, and built from existing institutions and organizations and work, public and private partnership, calling all willingly loving. So one part of the dream was the fitness journey, the physical, me transforming, working out, training, exercising, becoming fitter, losing weight, but at the same time still not being satisfied with where I'm at, because I would want to have those abs. I believe, I assume, I interpret the person who was very fit showing me the abs, that's so fit, abs, wow, that my desire to also have develop a six-pack, develop a six-pack, develop a six-pack subconsciously, right? Have a similar six-pack to that person, very lean, which I don't have a visible six-pack. The subconscious desire also to love and be loved, and perhaps some physical pleasure. Get a massage maybe from this person was fit, but fit enough to give me a good massage. Tom Brady, massage Dragon Zeros for world peace. Gonna rate Tom Brady's hands. Supposedly he came out of retirement. I called Tom Brady ASAP before practice. June. Maybe next week, tomorrow get a call. Type Twitter Tom Brady or Elon Musk, or read Elon Musk or Bill Gates inviting them to my underground room off Sun Temple to discuss my trinity of theories, or any multi-millionaire athlete, famous athlete in the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. One of those who makes more than $7 million a year salary for the past average 10 years, let's say. Who's been more than 10 years in one of those. Tom Brady's been for more than that. Which one else? Don't know. Don't follow the others much, but give Dragon massages. That's what I could use right now on the neck. So that part was the physical part in my dream. The physical also had the brains and the muscles. So my desire to get fitter, more aesthetic, the aesthetic development, because I'm not where I totally want to be aesthetically, right? My fitness journey continues. Maybe work more on the abs, so that interaction with the person, maybe some even sexual, repressed or channeled. As I'm for sublimating and channeling and sublimating into doing X, Y, Z, like sexuality, sexual impulses to be channeled, understood. Principle of harm none, principle of harm none, consent and hygiene. And the other one was intellectual, because my interaction with the other person, I believe it was at different floors, was of an intellectual, philosophical, political, perhaps geopolitical nature. I remember speaking about. Pardon? Oh yeah, a short walk would be good. Don't you have something? Okay. Oh yeah, that would be good. Get some more coffee. Sure. That was my sister, anonymous sister, anonymous sister. We're gonna go for a walk, make us some good. So there was an intellectual component. In about 10 minutes. 10-15 minutes, is that good? Huh? Good idea. Going for a walk after this intellectual analysis, philosophical explanation. So the one was the physical component, and the other one was the intellectual. And of course, my experience over the years with the libraries, making them my second home, and reading tens of thousands of books on philosophy, art, civilizations, geopolitics, economy, finance, commerce, history, all things of all books, even some romance books and all books which are not my main or secondary or tertiary interest, but just because I was curious, books on other all things, a variety, diverse books, did not stick to one subject, went to subjects of civilization and nature and botany and plants and all sorts of flora and fauna and civilization combined. And of course, still much to learn. The other aspect was the intellectual one. The intellectual one was, of course, more conflictual, more, there was more discord. There was more, and there's not, there was some tension there. So perhaps this person, not necessarily being totally antagonistic, but being in opposition to some, perhaps most, if not all, of my theories, of my philosophies, of my intellectual, was a discussion of an intellectual, philosophical, spiritual, geopolitical nature. This person was perhaps more reticent, more debate. There was more debate, more tension than with the athletic, with the fitness person. The interaction was pleasant, lovely, friendly, cordial, mutually understanding, mutually loving. Wow, supportive. While with the person, intellectual, geopolitical, philosophical discussion, there were tension, was debate, argumentative. I remember getting a bit upset in the was a bit of gestures which were had to kind of so that was also part of the dream, this the intellectual philosophical part of the dream, so part of my brain and muscle journey with some brain and some muscle. Adrian, Dragan, you're still androgynous pansexual, founder of the dancing goddess and the Dragon King. It wasn't totally pleasant, there was tension, perhaps subconscious, perhaps in certain elements me, I felt I'm lacking the wisdom, the philosophy, the knowledge of this person who seemed to have more philosophy in certain areas than me, more wisdom. Perhaps my subconscious felt inferior or mediocre compared to what the arguments and the philosophy put forward by this person. Perhaps in this argument, at certain points in time, this person also felt that in certain things I was quote unquote winning the argument or the debate, and then vice versa. I felt like I was losing the argument and the debate. At one point, we were kind of even. There was also reconciliation at one point during this interaction with this person. On certain issues, there was a reconciliation from, remember this interaction, it was a reconciliation. So my analysis combines all these psychological, philosophical, physical, and even sexual parts, and this dream comprises all these parts of our being, an essence of our being, which we have on a daily basis, sometimes more philosophical than others, sometimes more physical, sometimes we're less energy, lower energy, we're tired, or sometimes we're more willing to take action, more philosophical, more XYZ in certain areas. So this dream had a lot, and a lot more still to interpret, to meditate over today, because it was a powerful dream, and it comprised all my experiences of, let's say, the past 7, 8, 9 years of reading, writing, creating, philosophy, theory, writing and reading, coupled with more recent and further physical journey, fitness journey began a few years ago, and getting fit with the person with the fitness and with the person with the intellect, the sophistication, the sort of a diatribe, more of a diatribe nature, more diatribe nature. So with that, we will do the final meditation. Grateful, thankful, yours truly. Rent is paid, auctioning this shirt to raise funds for the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. Yours truly's analysis of the dream from a philosophical nature. Not perfect, far from it. I am for the greater good with all the vices, lust, issues do have, admit. Sometimes people don't like to admit as much. Yours truly, my rent's paid, my electricity bill is paid in full, rent is paid in full, one half of my phone bill is paid in full. And fourth dimension to that trinity of bills being paid, got food and coffee, and I could really use today was when I use a good walk, good exercise, writing, continuing writing children's books. But I admit I could use a good massage. Love, main messages, make love tonight. Now with consent and hygiene. Make love tonight, because otherwise, if not for LOV, what are we fighting for to save this free world? West side, west side, west side. Civilization for is somebody not falling in love now, young love, teenager love, holding hands, making love, couples tonight, or hugging hard, kissing, massaging. For those trading stocks now, 2 p.m., making a million, making money, BlackRock, Blackstone, Wall Street, multi-millionaire athletes. How fighting for them, man.